Hello, thank you guys. Sorry about that. All right, so what we are covering is test number 2. All right, so I'm going to try to balance being helpful with keeping this a collegiate level course, as I had warned you, right, that I'm not going to go through all of the questions this time around and kind of give the answers, but I definitely want to help out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip through the ones that I think are pretty flagrantly found in the argumentative assignments, and anything that I elaborated upon via lecture, anything that is a little bit cryptically inside one of the handouts and may not be too readily apparent, anything that I may believe that I don't quite recall if I covered or not, I'm going to go over. Okay. And then after that, you are free to ask me any specific questions. And of course, I'm not going to turn you down should you have a specific question on a specific question. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to, I'm going to share the screen with the test. All right. And so here we go. See here. Court history of the Spanish-American War. Remember, that contends, right, that you can't deny that we fought the Spanish-American War, but you contend that we're hesitant, that we were sucked into it, that our leaders did not want to readily get involved, but they were heavily influenced, heavily pressured by lobbyist groups, but by the people themselves, by way of a very manipulative press, and that we believed that we were fighting because we had to, because of the prevalence of certain ideas that were spreading, disseminating at that time from academia down to the population. Okay, so I pretty much gave that one. Revisionist historical interpretations. Okay, so anything that anything that I know that let's see here. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on that one as well. All right. That Goldbug administrators convinced powers that be that America could get out of the Depression of 1893 by way of dumping, quote, surplus products into new captured islands. That is true. The lobbyist thesis on C is also true, pushing, right, the executive branch. B is very cynical, but it's out there, right? That Secretary of State Gresham saw symptoms of revolution inside the U.S. and thought the Spanish-American War could be a good unifying distraction for the country. But look at the last one, that anti-Spanish colonial reign leaders like Filipino insurgent Emilio Aguinaldo and Jose Marti felt as if the U.S. alone could help them militarily win and achieve modernization. No. And I think I made that clear. I know I did with Aguinaldo, but Marti had a change of heart. He really pushed for American involvement, and then he became very reticent of that stance. So that's the one that doesn't fit. Ideas deemed dangerous, those should be pretty easy. Take a look at number 1 on the Spanish-American, on American overseas imperialism. Okay, section number 1. Regarding military history of the U.S., that would be lecture. So maybe I'll go over that one. The United States achieved a quick victory via highly, oh, that was silly. Every now and then I'll throw a silly option in there. The instructor subjectively claimed that U.S. naval technology was lopsidedly superior and that the Spanish hurt themselves in Cuba via strategies that seem ineffective in hindsight. Yes. The instructor highlighted Puerto Rican and Filipino high morale in support of the U.S. Armed Forces. No, I said the opposite. The instructor stated that participation by Buffalo soldiers was inconsequential. No, not only is that very politically incorrect, but it's historically inaccurate. They did consequentially definitely help the war effort. And those are the African American soldiers. McKinley was depicted by the instructor via his handout as, okay, you should be able to get that. Okay. So remember, this isn't from one, this is putting two sections together. Okay. Number 5 is they're putting two sections together. So in summation, how was McKinley finally conveyed? All right. So you should be able to get that from the handout. Walter Lefebvre depicts American foreign policy in court history fashion, idealistic and hesitant to intervene in foreign affairs. That is an aside that I should have said in lecture, and that is false. Walter Lefebvre, as I think I mentioned, is highly revisionist and very cynical of American designs, motives, and involvement throughout the world in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And his books are very interesting, and they really give a lot of dirt on U.S. foreign policy makers. James G. Blaine, you should find that in where it says America is out for her own best interests. Okay, James G. Blaine as a Secretary of State. President William Howard Taft's famous diplomacy with Latin America involved a penchant for military brinkmanship and intervention. Did he, to get what he wanted from these weaker nations, did he threaten war? That's brinkmanship. Used a heavy hand in trying to get what he wanted, and that is meant to be a contrast with dollar diplomacy that is described in the handout. So if it's a contrast with dollar diplomacy, then it's not true. The Platt Amendment is right in the handout. All right, number 9. As is number 10. Theodore Roosevelt and American imperialism. Okay, kind of putting it all together, but especially in numbers 1, the one where America is out for its own best interests. And yeah, so take a look at those. Okay, you're looking for the one that doesn't fit. But as for right now, I'm a little averse to doing that one as well. I think you could find that in your handout. Number 11, the instructor have subjectively depicted American imperialism in the Hawaiian Islands as a well-meaning progressive crusade by Haole, that's white American, that had to overcome the opposition of Queen Liliuokalani's regressive, domestically unpopular, and tyrannical agenda. No way. No way. I adhere mainly to revisionist interpretations. There's just a lot of revisionist data that backs it up. That the U.S., the Haole, etc., played the villains in that narrative. Number 12, progressives. They were described early on, immediately in the handout. So you should get that from the handout at number 12. Number 13 as well. Different areas in which they fought, different things that they tried to achieve. So right now I'm a little hesitant to give number 13 away as well. All right. Court history of the progressives, altruistic do-gooders to help out the marginalized. And that's right away in your handout. Revisionist history, this is also in your handout. Anxiety-ridden, worried about their own obsolescence as the old middle class, and fearful of getting caught in a class war. You could read that. Okay. The conservative argument in the progressive handout criticized the movement. So this is the one that talks about the founding fathers. Okay. Number 16. Number 17. Progressivism utilized new social sciences like sociology to study and combat systemic cycles of poverty and marginalization. Absolutely. Okay, you should be able to get 18 from the handout. The Settlement House movement, that's a number 1. Right. Remember, they went into the marginalized areas to help them out. Number 19. This was probably more in line with my lecture. So I guess I'm okay with that. I'm okay with giving this one. Historian Richard Hofstadter claims that Roosevelt embraced the progressive movement as a manly, chivalric knight's errand. Absolutely. Hofstadter does. Roosevelt took a self-proclaimed impartial father figure role amidst labor strife, as seen in the Pennsylvania coal strike, when he claimed that he gave both sides, quote, a square deal. So that is true as well. And you're looking for the false one here. C, Roosevelt's administration publicly attacked bad or misbehaving trusts, some believing to give cathartic satisfaction to the public. Absolutely. I mentioned that. Roosevelt supported socialized medicine, transportation, and education. No, he did not go that far. He was not that far to the left. So that's the one that doesn't fit. All right. Number 20 is a self-proclaimed progressive. Woodrow Wilson broke up more trusts than had any other president, and as Congress implemented the first peacetime minimum wage laws in all industries. See, that's only partially right. I didn't mean to trick you there. He did not, his administration did not break up the most trusts, first of all. And they had the first wartime minimum wage laws, and not even in all industries, but those connected to the war machine. So there's enough of that that is wrong to make that one wrong. Right. Number 21, I give this in the introduction to Wilson in World War I. So you should be able to find the one that doesn't fit. Okay, on 21. Number 22, why technically did Woodrow Wilson ask Congress to declare war? That's found in the handout as well. What was our official reason? And then how was Woodrow Wilson's academic career used in the handout as instrumental to future decisions during World War I? Is, remember, the one where it talks about him being a professor and how that caused him to lean in a certain direction against a certain side, certain countries. So take a look at that. That's in the Woodrow Wilson handout. But it's pretty clear. Wilson's Committee on Public Information is depicted as congruent with, or parallel with, right? Consistent with his progressive rhetoric. That whole section, it talks about how he supposedly did what he had to do, and he did things that were against his own rhetoric. '25, Carl Schenk's famous court case. Did it secure and broaden First Amendment rights? That's in the handout. See if it does, okay? The famous Carl Schenck case. And does the handout say that he became grudgingly dependent upon big business for the war effort? It's clearly put in that handout, if that's true or not. As is number 27. Okay, look at the last section. The last section of the handout. Okay, now you're looking for the one that's false. And perhaps a lot of this was by lecture, so I'll do this one, 28. Black American soldiers often received a taste of better treatment when fighting with the French. Yes. Conservative progressive regulations against immorality and drunkenness stifled the soldiers' experience. I may have intended that one to be the wrong one, because it would have stifled their experience had they been implemented. But according to the primary sources, the soldiers defied them. So I think that's the one you want to choose as wrong. Let me see. C, friction arose concerning French leadership over American soldiers. Absolutely. Ferdinand Foch and his throwing American soldiers into battle. Friction arose between American officers and regulars. I definitely mentioned that. And E, American numbers alone may have helped influence the Germans to surrender. And I did say that. I did go so far as to say that. So yeah, the one that does not fit is B. It didn't seem to stifle their experience because they defied them. No women, no alcohol, etc. Look at Woodrow Wilson's 14 points. I have them written, I have them printed out in the Woodrow Wilson handout. Well, actually, you're not going to get it just from reading the 14 points. So I guess I'll do this one too. It involved what some presently label as multilateral liberal enforcement. Yes. Articles 10 and 231 at Versailles went against the spirit of Wilson's message and plan for the post-war world. Absolutely. We'll go back to those when we do World War II. C, Wilson lived up to his rhetoric about self-determination for all peoples and evacuated the Philippines? No. He gave them a timetable to eventually gain their freedom, but he did not evacuate the Philippines. So that one's wrong. That's the one you would pick. All right, number 30, I mentioned in lecture. Okay. Woodrow Wilson's administration ironically invaded Mexico twice. Yes, that is true. I got into that, I think. Number 31, you can get from the introduction to the 20s assignment. And number 32, I think you can get out of there. I'm going back and forth on giving that one because I know I made that clear. I feel like you should know that one. Yeah, let me think on that one. What do the 18th and 20th Amendments and the Volstead Act pertain to? That's right out of the 20s introduction. '34 is right out of the 20s introduction on the Harlem Renaissance. Hmm. 35 and 36, I did by lecture, so I guess I'll give those. The Harlem Renaissance entertainer Josephine Baker was cited as evidence for widespread WASP acceptance of African Americans during the Roaring '20s. No. Remember, I stated how she was discriminated against and oftentimes was not accepted into the very restaurants and hotels and venues where she entertained the white population. 36, Langston Hughes and Countee Cullen, the identity crisis between the African American who is willing to do almost anything to be accepted and integrated into white America, and then giving up and feeling despondence about it and thinking no matter what they do, Americans will never get past seeing their black skin and hence feel pride in being black. So that is true. The Scopes trial was the monkey trial. All right. Teaching of macro species evolution in high school biology class in Tennessee? So you're looking for the one that's false. I said that it should have been about that which was at the top on A, power over curriculum, academic liberty, etc. Oh, look at I have there. And he demonstrated that that is what indeed was focused upon. And I did not say that. I said B. The atmosphere became circus-like. And the court did defend the school district to fire Scopes, but the press depicted the traditionalists as backward. So that last part of A makes it false. And then this one, 38, obviously from the book, I need to give you. Alan Brinkley fails to include in his introduction From Crisis to Empire an economic depression and domestic, social, and political problems as relevant to overseas imperialism. Shoot. Give me just a moment. Trying to find the my second edition. Darn it. It's a problem with getting to back home from school just in time for this. I didn't have any prep time. Don't have this available. Let me see. Tell you what I'm going to do. Give me just a moment. I apologize if you can't see me as I can't see you. But I'm gonna look to my answer. I apologize. Okay. I apologize for that. That one is false. Okay, let me go back to the test. So the one on Alan Brinkley in Crisis of Empire is false. Number 38. Two primary aims of the progressives, according to Alan Brinkley's intro in the textbook, were justice and order. That is true. And then 40, Alan Brinkley in the New Era chapter attributes the 1924 Immigration Act and its leniency to progressive acceptance of non-WASP minorities during the 1920s. That is false. That one's false as well. So, of course, I will always give you the textbook ones, no matter what. Okay, so are there any specific questions? Do you guys feel better prepared for this? Well, I hope so. All right. So I gave more than I was intending, to be honest, initially. So I like to think, I hope that I helped you. All right, remember that you have one go at this, okay? So take your time. I sure as heck didn't choose any time limit, but I want you to just have one go at it for test 2 and test 3. So by all means, look through your argumentative assignments, have them with you. You could take it, obviously, open note, have them available in front of you. I would recommend as you're taking the test. And good luck.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You as well. Thank you. All right, so you guys take care, okay? I'm going to go ahead and let you go. You're welcome, Jose.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You as well, hon. I did take attendance. Who is that? Yeah, if your name wasn't okay, thank you. All right, got you, Giovanna. No problem. All right. All right, guys, take care, okay? Good luck. You guys could smash this.